News Alert, Attorney General Jeff Sessions terminating the former deputy director at the FBI, Andrew McCabe. This was a dramatic late-night development on Friday. The Attorney General saying, in part, the FBI's OPR, the Office of Professional Responsibility, reviewed the report from the Inspector General there and underlying documents and issued a disciplinary proposal recommending the dismissal of Mr. McCabe. Both the Inspector General and that Office of Professional Responsibility, those reports concluded McCabe made an unauthorized disclosure to the news media and lacked candor, including under oath, on multiple occasions. Disclosures to the media and lacked candor. What does that mean in plain English?
That is Washington speak for you lied and you leaked. And that is why it's happening. And by the way, he's blaming Donald Trump. He's blaming the Republicans. But this decision came right out of the FBI.
That's right.
Came out of their office that usually, as you mentioned, Ed.
Internal affairs, nonpartisan. If anything, they protect their own and try to make sure that people don't get punished inside the FBI. That's the allegation. Anyway, in this case, they said he should be terminated.
That's right. That's the FBI Office of, as you said, Professional Responsibility. Very rare for this type of thing. Totally nonpartisan. So it's not as if President Trump or Attorney General Sessions said, you're fired or you're fired. The process went through. They looked at the facts. They realized he violated the law. And ultimately, if you violate the law, you don't get to keep your pension or your job. That was the...
Well, there's no saying you violated the law, at least policy.
Excuse me, you're right, policy.
Right.
You lied to the FBI, your own organization. You shouldn't get to keep your job.
It could lead to criminal charges, and that's in part why you're seeing Senator Grassley, Senator Graham talking about a second special counsel beyond Robert Mueller. Say, okay, you're looking at Russia collusion. Haven't found evidence of that, by the way. But on the other side of it, what about the investigators who have their own problems? FISA abuse, maybe lying to the FBI, maybe lying to the investigators at the Justice Department Inspector General.
Yeah.
So the president, not responsible for this decision, but definitely happy with it. Tweeting last night, Andrew McCabe fired. A great day for the hardworking men and women of the FBI. A great day for democracy. Sanctimonious James Comey was his boss and made McCabe look like a choir boy. He knew all about the lies and corruption going on at the highest levels of the FBI. Very clear, the president's position there. But again, bringing up the people at the FBI, because I think a lot of this is about clearing up that reputation, about draining the swamp, and so much damage done to the reputation of the DOJ since James Comey came in, and McCabe certainly part of that.
Yeah, and this angry statement is charging that the president is at war with the FBI. Not really true. He might be at war with a handful of people who he believes turned the FBI political.
At the top.
But there are thousands and thousands, we should point out, hardworking men and women inside the FBI trying to keep this country safe, working hard, just trying to do their jobs and be impartial umpires. The problem is if you decide to inject politics into this process.
That's exactly right. Well, Andrew McCabe struck back or put out a statement last night as a result of this. He said this, his side of the story. He said, for the last year and a half, my family and I have been the targets of an unrelenting assault on our reputation and my service to this country. The president's tweets have amplified and exacerbated it all. He called for my firing. He called for me stripped of my pension after more than 20 years of service. This attack on my credibility is part of a larger effort to not just slander me personally, but to taint the FBI, law enforcement, and intelligence professionals more generally. It is part of the administration's ongoing war on the FBI and the efforts of the special counsel investigation, which continues to this day. So he keeps pointing back to that. He points to his 20 years of service, and I point to the fact that I know people that have served over 20 years in the military. They commit a violation. They get dishonorably discharged. They don't keep their pension. I think average people look at this and say, you know, in most countries, corrupt officials, they get away with these types of things. We've never been that type of country. We're a country of laws, not a country of men. Laws should apply to everyone equally. And in this case, if he violated, he should get the same punishment a low-level official would get as well.
Rachel, the McCabe, Comey FBI wrote the exoneration statement for Hillary Clinton before they interviewed her. That might be all you need to know. But Dan Bongino instead goes further. And as you know, he can list it all. Here's where he says McCabe messed up.
There are three things, though, that McCabe did wrong that I think bothers him. the grotesque handling of the Hillary Clinton email investigation. There was the FISA, of course, the FISA warrant that was backed by information that later turned out to be false. And the prosecution of Mike Flynn, despite higher-ups at the FBI acknowledging that Mike Flynn was likely truthful in his interview. Those are three horrible decisions by the number 2 guy. If you made those decisions in the private sector, you wouldn't only lose your pension, you'd probably have your salary clawed back too. And we're all supposed to be crying for Andy McCabe. You know, really, spare me this.
He's so right. I mean, this idea that we should feel sorry for Andrew McCabe and all this. What, you know, the American people have lost so much confidence in institutions in general. And we saw even in the last, and you said our country's not supposed to operate. It never has. Well, guess what, Pete? It did. Under the Obama administration, Lois Lerner also broke the law, and she is now retired, happily living, you know, off of her pension. We've seen this happen before, and that's why people are losing confidence.
It infuriates people.
It infuriates
the lack of accountability.
Lack of accountability, and they know that if they had done this, they would be in trouble. Look at what Michael Flynn is facing for lying to the FBI. For lesser matters, I would argue, than what Andrew McCabe has done. And now the media has joined in also crying a river for Andrew McCabe.
Because you're talking about institutions that the American public have lost confidence in?
Correct.
Like the so-called mainstream media, journalists in this country that ram narratives down our throat that we don't want and don't believe. Here's a little snippet of it. Listen.
Very disturbing that the president has been gunning for Andrew McCabe since the campaign. This kind of Friday night massacre is a little concerning.
Is there any comparison to Nixon's Saturday night massacre?
Yeah, I mean, this will be known as the Friday night slaughter. It's done in a kind of cloak of secrecy late at night in a bizarre fashion. I think we can say tonight that the Trump White House is at war with our FBI.
Deputy FBI director was fired.
Oh.
Yeah.
2 days.
Really? That doesn't really affect anything, but it's just mean.
And some went further. Andrew Mitchell at NBC tweeting one suggestion from a McCabe supporter. If a friendly member of Congress hired him for a week, he could possibly qualify for pension benefits by extending his service the extra days. So now we're coming up with ideas on how to bail out Andrew McCabe.
You're a journalist. How unusual is this kind of advocacy for someone to skirt getting his pension when clearly the office, the FBI has said this guy doesn't deserve it?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you sat her down, Andrew Mitchell would argue she was just passing along the facts that a supporter of McCabe was saying.
We know what she's doing. She's using a huge platform to make that point.
But, you know, the second part of that is there are plenty of people in the media who you can just see are cheering McCabe on. And you can see from some of those clips. And suggesting this is the Friday night massacre. This is Nixon. This is Watergate. It is a narrative that, whether the facts support it or not, is going to continue to be fed.
Well, it's the residual of the resistance narrative. I mean, it's got to continue at some level.
Not even pretending to be unbiased. It's really, really interesting. We got to turn to some headlines now, though.